So this is my 5th time trying to record this. Because what happens is I'll be like really into what I'm talking about. I'll be like, but then I'll say something stupid, and I'm like, oh, I got to start over now. So then I go to start over, and I try to recreate the me being into it, and it doesn't come out the same. It sounds forced. So then I have to talk about something different, and then I'll do the same thing where I'm really into it, and then I'll say something stupid. So it's like it just goes on and on and on and on and on. So I don't know what to talk about now. I don't know what to talk about. I went to a water park. I'll talk about this. Went to a water park, okay? And I got water up my nose. Really fucking forcefully. So forcefully it felt like it went out of the back of my head. Okay? And if you know anything about getting water up your nose, you know that there's a brain-eating amoeba. Brain-eating amoeba. I can't say the other. It's like Nigerian fowl, or I don't know how to say the scientific name, but if it gets up into your nose, you're dead. There's no cure for it. You're going to die. You're going to die in 18 days. Period. Done. Your brain's going to swell up. You're going to go into a coma, and you're going to die, and that's that. Okay? And you get it from getting water up your nose. Can you get it from chlorinated water? No. Most likely not. But there's still that small chance. There's even okay, so you mostly get it from fresh water. That's where you get it from. So you go into fresh water, the water gets up your nose, the brain-eating amoeba is in the fresh water, and they eat your brain and you die. But there's a very small chance of you even getting it from fresh water, let alone chlorinated water. But in my crazy mind, I thought I had it. I was having a blast at the water park, and then I went down this fucking water slide, and it was the most insane fucking water slide I've ever been down in my entire life, where I lost control of my body. I was like, oh, I'm going to die now, because I was in the air. I was in the air. I don't know how, I was going so fast that I was in air, and I couldn't see because the water was everywhere, and I was like, I'm dead. And water just right at the end went, if you could have just seen what I did with my hand right there. It went up my nose, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm not going to have fun for the rest of the day now, because I'm going to be by my locker, crunched over, on my phone, texting Chat GPT, do I have the brain-eating amoeba? And that's exactly what I did. I was talking to Chat GPT for the next 2 days, and I feel like it remembered me, because it was like, oh my god, no, you don't have the motherfucking brain-eating amoeba. So I most likely don't have it, because enough time has passed where, whatever. But still, don't look it up if you're worried about, if you go swimming in lakes and rivers, don't look it up, because you're going to be terrified of going under the water. Or maybe you're not a psycho like me. But there's a chance, though. There's a chance that if you get water up your nose, you're fucked. That's the thing. It's like there's not even like a chance. It's like, oh, it's not like you're going to get diarrhea or you're going to die. And that's that. There's no fucking cure. There's no way to get around it. It's going to... I love the best part is when you look it up, it tells you to go see a doctor immediately. For what? There's nothing they can do. There's like, I think 158 people have gotten this thing, and 3 have survived. And the one guy who got it, I think he was on his jet ski, and the steam from the lake rose up, and the steam went up his nose, and there was a brain-eating amoeba in the steam, of all things. And he survived because, I don't know why he survived, but he was paralyzed for a while, and then he relearned how to walk, and he still walks with a cane, and his brain and memory are fucked up. All from a little fucking amoeba, because he went water skiing. He didn't even go in the water. He breathed in steam. So yeah, that's my life. I gotta worry about... I don't even want to talk about it. It's just, it's terrifying. In my head, it's just like... There's like, I imagine little people at desks just coming up with different ways to scare the shit out of me. And then there'll be things that are actually wrong with me, like physically wrong with me, and I'm like, whatever, it's fine. Like things like I should actually get checked out. But I'm just worried about the unknown. I'm like, what is this? I'm sure I've talked about this before to nobody who listens to this, but one time I had a little tiny pimple on my wrist. It was the tiniest little pimple. And this is how it works. It gets into your head like a fucking disease. Because I look at it and I'm like, oh, that's a pimple. And I was like, oh, what if it's a mosquito bite? Oh, what if it's a spider bite? Then I was like, what do brown recluse spider bites look like? So then I start looking them up. Then I'm like, what happens if you get bit by a brown recluse spider? And then I see like it melts off your fucking skin. And you could fucking die and get your arm amputated or whatever. Then I'm like, nah, it's not a brown recluse spider bite. Then I'm like, but what if it is? What if I really did get bit by a brown recluse spider? Like, what if I fucking did? What if I did and I didn't know? Because you wouldn't know if you got bit, right? Because you wouldn't see it. What if I was sleeping and it bit me and I didn't know, and now that's a brown recluse spider bite, and I'm wasting time right now thinking about it instead of immediately going to the hospital and getting it figured out. I'm wasting time. I'm wasting precious time. Then now my arm's going to get amputated if it doesn't kill me. The least that's going to happen is my arm is going to get amputated because I have a brown recluse spider bite and it's on my arm and it's going to get fucking amputated and I'm going to have one arm for the rest of my life unless I go right now. Maybe there's still a chance that I can fucking save it. And this is my head. The whole ride down there. I literally left work. I flipped out on my boss. I was like, I have to go! I have a spider bite on my arm! And he's looking, he's like, what the fuck are you even talking about? So I left work, I drove down to the hospital. The whole time I'm building up more and more in my head. I'm like, there's a spider, my arm's gonna get amputated, but hopefully, and I'm imagining my funeral, and I'm imagining like my family is, I'm gonna be like on a respirator, and they're gonna be like, oh my god, Joey, why didn't you go earlier? Why didn't you go to the hospital earlier? And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. There's so much I wanted to do with my life. Why did I fuck up? If only I would have went earlier. And as I'm thinking this, like my floor is going to the pushing on the gas more, and I'm flying to the hospital. And then I make it, and I was like, I get there, and I was like, I run into the emergency room. I go to the front desk, and I'm like, I think I got bit by a spider. And they're just like, okay, you know, let me see. So I showed it to them, and they're like, oh, does it hurt? And I was like, no, it doesn't hurt. So then I'm sitting there, I'm still reeling. I'm like, why aren't they bringing me in sooner? Why aren't they? Then they finally bring me in, and then I talk to the doctor, and he's like, oh, let me see. And then he goes and he walks out of the room, and like I'm in there alone, and all of the adrenaline, all of the fear, everything just like left my body, and I was like, I have a pimple on my arm right now. I have a pimple on my arm. I'm in the emergency room right now. I'm in a gown. I'm literally in a fucking gown, and I have a pimple on my arm, telling them that I think I have a spider bite. Then the doctor comes back in, and he's laughing. He's literally trying not to laugh. He's like, take these steroids. And he gives me steroids, and then I was afraid to take the steroids because I don't want my dick to shrink, so I moved them around like under my tongue in front of the doctor. It was this whole fucking thing. It was insane. It was absolutely insane, all because I had a pimple on my arm. So I didn't want to take the steroids, so I hid them under my tongue, and he saw me hide them under my tongue. Then I spit them out into the garbage, and I looked through the glass, and I saw him and the other doctors literally laughing and pointing at me. I'm not even exaggerating. I'm not joking. I'm not using hyperbole. They were pointing, and they were laughing at me because I knew that he was like, he didn't even take the steroids. He hid them under his tongue, and then he spit them out as soon as I left the room. And we probably could watch it on camera right now, and that's what we're doing, and that's why we're laughing at you right now, you fucking weirdo. You know how embarrassing that is? You know how embarrassing that is to build it up in your fucking head? It's funny. It's very funny. But not to me! Not what's happening. It's terrifying. Then I gotta drive home like a moron with all the adrenaline like left my body, all the energy's out of my body, and I'm just driving home just like on the verge of tears because there's a physical reaction to those chemicals leaving my body, and I'm just like, it's bad with my life. There's a pimple. Literally, there's a whitehead, and I popped it, and I was like, well, oh my god. It was like the tiniest little thing ever. And that's how it fucking works. That's why I think that I have a brain-eating amoeba. That's why I'm looking at my book collection right now, and I have this book called Rabid. It's about rabies. That's another one. You're fucked. If you get bit by, I think there's a chance if you get to a doctor quick enough, if they have the rabies shot. I think they stick it in your fucking chest. They stick it or in your stomach or something. But yeah, you're fucked. Rabies is one of the most terrifying. I think it's up there with the brain-eating disease. And there's more of a chance because we have a fox that lives out back. And foxes carry it. But yeah. Rabies, I think, is one of the scariest diseases out there. Look it up. Look it up. I got a book and I can't even finish it. I noticed I'm looking at my book collection right now. I have a bunch of books with little pieces of paper sticking out of the first, like, I say about 30 pages of all of them, because that's how far I get in a lot of books, unless it's nonfiction. I like nonfiction. I like, I went and saw Oppenheimer. Anybody like movies? I don't know how I feel about that movie, man. I don't know how I feel. I feel like even talking about it is such a waste because it's going to... not that it matters that I'm dating something that nobody's going to ever listen to, but it's like it dates this... Because like that Oppenheimer is just going to become a movie that's going to go on streaming and everybody's going to forget about it and it's going to be like a little... No, it wasn't that good. It was okay. If you like history, whatever. It was... The guy who plays Einstein, it was so fucking cheesy, so that ruined it. That took it out. You can't have a character who's so iconic and well-known be played by an actor because it doesn't work. Like, you can't have somebody play Einstein. I'm sorry. Just like you can't have somebody play Michael Jackson. If it's like an obscure guy like Jake LaMotta and Raging Bull that nobody really knows about, like, the general public, you could do that. But like if it's somebody like Mike Tyson, nobody could be Mike Tyson because Mike Tyson is an icon. Nobody could be Michael Jordan. You can't have somebody play these people. So the fact that they got somebody to play Einstein immediately took me out of the movie, and it became a parody. Especially there's one scene towards the end where there's a car that it's like nighttime and some shit's going down, and then a car drives away, and right behind the car, Einstein like just happens to be there, and he walks up and he's like, "Oh!" It's just it was unintentionally funny. Like I was literally laughing out loud. Not the whole movie. The movie's all right. I'm just not a big Christopher Nolan fan. I don't like his directing style. I mean, whatever. He's a fucking director, and I'm not. So he's doing something right? But his movies don't feel like movies. They just feel like really long montages. And then he strings it together using music, which is so overpowering. The music is so overpowering. It doesn't even, like, it's in scenes that don't even make sense. It'll be like this big, swelling, overdramatic music, and people are just like, well, you know, it just, I don't know, I can't stand his use of music in movies. It kills me. What's funny is, I don't want to say it's not a passionate movie, but it's not a passionate movie. I'm sorry. It's so fucking shitty that those are the two movies out right now, that Barbie and Oppenheimer. Is it better than Marvel movies? Sure, okay? Sure, Marvel movies killed creativity. But this is what it shit out. This is what they shit out and they gave us, is Barbie and Oppenheimer. And Paul Schrader, the writer of Taxi Driver and the writer and director of First Reformed, which blew me away. When that movie was over in theaters, I sat there because what he did is he ripped open my fucking chest, he ripped out my heart, and he shoved it down my throat, and he was like, "Choke on it, you motherfucker!" Because there was some passion to it. There was intensity. There was great writing. There was oomph that went into it. There was, I'm going to show you my fucking soul. I'm going to fucking beat the fucking shit out of you. He said that Oppenheimer was the best movie of the decade, which blew me away because it just makes me wonder, like, who am I? Do I know anything? Do I know anything about anything? And it really does make me question it, and I really will try to open my mind and be like, okay, what am I missing? And I guess technically, as a director, like if you're in that world, like I guess it's a brilliant movie. Fine. Didn't do it for me. There was no oomph to it. There was no charisma. There was no fuck you! I want to see it running down the screen. I want to see the passion coming out of the movie and just running down the fucking screen. Like, this is your life! Fuck you! I hope somebody's filming me through the kitchen window right now because I look like a psychopath. I'm like grinding my teeth, just punching my leg. But that's what that's what's missing in the world right now. Oomph. Show me something that means something. Show me something that really tries. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that these things don't try. I'm not like... That's what sucks, is you have to respect it, right? I do respect a movie like Barbie and Oppenheimer and the Marvel movies. I respect them. I absolutely respect them. But I don't love them. I don't love something that's not showing me something. Like, I want you to fucking break my arm. And I don't mean that. I mean it literally. I want you to fucking show me something. That's what you should always be striving for. With everything. Music. Books. Like, I read these fluff, shitty thrillers because I just like to waste time sometimes. But they know they're shitty. I feel like they know they're shitty. And I'm not defending it. They're garbage. But, like, read a book like The Demon by Hubert Selby Jr. Holy fuck. Holy fuck. If you think that book... I've loaned it to people and they're like, eh. No, if you think that book is boring, you fucking aren't a human being. I don't know how to... Like, it just gets under your fucking skin and it starts pulsating outwardly and it rips off your fucking skin. It sheds shit. It sheds shit that you've been carrying around forever. Because you're like, God damn! He's saying it! He's really fucking saying it! I feel like this is just going to come out like... So I apologize because I never listen back to these because I can't stand the sound of my own voice because I do comedy and I record every single set I do, and I don't listen back to them. I can't listen back to my own fucking voice. Are you kidding me? I remember, though. I try to remember the best I can, like how a joke went, but like I can't hear my... I tried it a couple times. I would do an open mic and then I would drive home and listen to my fucking shitty ass voice. And I was like, oh my God. Because whenever I thought I did really well, I'd listen to it and I'd be like, oh, I didn't do as well as I thought. And whenever I thought I did shitty, I'd listen to it and I'd be like, oh, I didn't do as shitty as I thought. But it was just hard for me to... I remember how things go. Whatever, I'm not trying to be cocky. I just can't stand that fucking sound of my own voice. That's the point. So I don't listen to this. So if it comes out shitty, whatever. Nobody's probably listening anyways. But I just wanted to say that show people something. I guess I'm talking to myself, right? I literally am talking to myself. Literally talking to myself. But check out Hubert Selby Jr., The Demon, and The Room. The Room is a little fucking disturbing. They both are, but maybe I have the brain-eating amoeba, and that's what's happening right now. It makes you fucking scream and punch your knee.